Yes,
How you
sir.
feeling?
Woo! I feel good. I feel like I got that big Nick energy. You feel me? I feel good. I feel great. I feel stupendous,
That's what I
fabulous.
like to hear, man. And I want to
It's
hear
just
this more
incredible.
often, and not just because the
Yeah,
Knicks are
man.
winning. Yeah,
They're
yeah.
making noise.
Um,
They're making noise.
they are making noise. They're making
They're
noise.
making
We got
noise.
to and I love it. I love it. I know I picked the Celtics to go to the finals. F them. Get them out of here.
Yeah. The,
I would love nothing more.
yes. Because honestly, it's it's a different brand of basketball we're playing. We're playing that basketball. Our version is more entertaining. They're only
I agree.
entertaining when everything is going. You know what I mean? When everything going right. Things cannot be going right for the
Yeah.
Knicks, but they play so hard that it's like it's entertaining.
I mean, when you miss 73s or whatever it is through two games, like,
75.
yeah, it's stupid. It's, I understand that's how they got to where they're at, but
Yeah.
bro,
Yeah. We'll get into that in more depth. There's an in-depth conversation to have about what's happening over there.
all right, let's get into it then. My name, I'm
Yes.
Johnell. This is my guy, Matt Price, Cash Walking, and this is Heat Chat powered by
Me
Designated
Jack.
Report. And it's the playoffs. It's the playoffs, and we're having a blast right now. Um, we talked a little bit earlier today, and we're going to keep the shows a little shorter, at least for this round, maybe next round, so that we can keep up with all the activities going on. But
Things are happening fast.
there's some things that we got to talk about.
Gotta get to
We're
it.
going to start off in the West. We've actually got game two tonight.
Yes.
The Golden State Warriors versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Warriors are up 1-0 in that series, but Steph Curry is done for at least a week, according to Shams. But I also saw a report earlier today that post game, Steve Kerr saw Steph Curry crying,
Yeah.
which isn't a good sign for Steph. Like we've talked about
Yeah.
it before. Their bodies, they know their
Yeah.
bodies. They're fine tuned
Yeah.
machines. So the fact that Steph Curry's crying, I doubt that it's just a thing of like, damn, like I'm gonna miss a game or two. It feels like it
Yeah.
might be something a little more significant
Yeah.
than that. Um, so I guess my first question to you is, assuming Steph Curry is out for a week, he's probably missing at least 2 games,
Yeah.
maybe three. Um, can Golden State, led by Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, are they able to keep Minnesota at bay and hopefully get them into the next round and get a semi-healthy Steph Curry back?
I think it's partially dependent on which Minnesota team they're going to see. If they're going to see that team from game one that was not aggressive, you're not getting an aggressive Anthony Edwards. You didn't get Julius Randle as aggressive as he had been, and defensively they just didn't have the energy. If you're getting that team, then you could stay in this thing and maybe split and be 2-2 if he comes back for game five, or be down one if he comes back for game six, which is what I hear they're trying to target. But yeah, I mean, look, Jimmy Butler can do it. He has dragged worse teams
We've
than
seen
this
it.
team in Miami and other places to conference finals. And I just think he's such a competitor. Draymond's such a competitor. They're smart players. They're going to be able to, get these guys motivated. Buddy Hield, not Steph, but
Buddy
he
Hield, yep.
showed that he could shoot it. He could hit those things. And, without Steph, they brought in Kaminga for more minutes, and he played well too. So I think they have some pieces there to make this thing interesting, or at least keep it close. They're not, I don't think they go down 3-1 or anything like that. It helps that they got that game one though, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah. Um, so I don't disagree with you. I do think Golden State can keep it competitive. I'm a firm believer in playoff Jimmy. not so much apparently.
He's not a
But
believer, but we are believers.
yeah, Golden State, they have a solid team, but it is highly reliant on Steph Curry. He
Right.
obviously the greatest, one of the greatest, if not the greatest shooter of the basketball of all time. But even if he's not shooting well, the spacing on the floor, the fact that you've always like he can erupt at any time, you have to
Yeah.
guard him. And him not being on the court, yes, Buddy Hield is a great shooter. Jimmy Butler, great competitor. My concern is just what happens to that offense without the dynamic,
Right.
the dynamic Steph Curry. Um, I say all that to say, I think Minnesota. I feel as though this is when Anthony Edwards truly makes that next step.
Yeah.
You mentioned that he wasn't super aggressive in game one for whatever reason. I mean, they
Chris,
came
his
off beating the
coach, Chris
Lakers.
Finch mentioned it. His own coach said it himself and challenged him to be, more aggressive and more, understanding the situation. Especially, I think there was some frustration with Steph being out, and there was never that like blood in the water moment for them. They
Yeah,
were never
yeah,
like, oh yeah, here's our chance. Like let's go, let's go, let's go. And there was never that moment. He did start to, come on a little bit later in the game. I don't think he hit his first three until like the fourth quarter. So, that's really what it is. He has to see this moment and seize this moment because
yeah.
they're down
And
their biggest player.
and I think he does. I mean, if we know anything about Anthony Edwards, and I think we might have alluded to it in last show, as much respect as he has for Steph Curry as a person and a player, he wants to get him up out of here.
Yeah,
Same with LeBron, same with KD.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
Jokic, if they end up playing them, like we heard, or we hear Ant Edwards post game, he'll go in there and be like, yeah, Jokic is incredible. He's
yeah,
great. He does all these things, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, he doesn't care. Like, once you step on the
yeah,
court, Anthony Edwards is,
yeah.
so
You got to have
I
that
think,
Kendrick control energy. That's what you got to
uh,
have.
uh,
That Kendrick control
yes,
energy. I got love for them
yes,
all, but I'm trying to murder
I'm
you.
trying to murder yo. Yeah.
That's it.
So I truly do, and I truly do think Edward and that team is going to go as far as he carries them. He's the heartbeat. They're going to go as he goes. So if he comes out and he's aggressive, he's diving on loose balls. He posterizes somebody that's going to energize that team and that arena. And I truly do think he heard what happened. He realizes what happened in game one, and he's going to come back and be like, "All right, you know what? We're not losing this. We're going to
Yeah,
go to Golden State 1-1 and kind of take it from there." So, um, I think the Steph Curry injury major implication on that
definitely,
series, and I mean we'll get more
definitely
information
major.
as the days and weeks go on, but hopefully it's not, you never want to see an all-time great go down
No,
with an
not this
injury,
way.
and
Late in the
but
career, and exactly, yeah.
hopefully
And
it's
it's just the
not
way he plays.
serious.
The way he plays,
Yeah,
all the constant movement, the constant running. That's how he gets open. That's how they play. That's how the offense gets its space. So that
yep,
obviously it's a great way. But I mean, yeah. So Steve Kerr, this is an amazing coach, a championship coach, an Olympic winning gold medalist. He he's lost his fastball here. I'm sure he has a changeup ready for
yeah,
this group that he has to go forward with. He said it himself. Injuries are a part of this game, and they are. But you got to move
absolutely,
on. They were able to move on and get through the rest of that game and win. I think that there's going to be motivation to that for the players, and that now everybody's like, well, they're dead. Steps out, and you just
yep,
those two guys that you mentioned, Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green. We know they're not going out like that, and we know that their
absolutely,
attitudes, their the way that they can motivate their teammates is infectious, and those two guys can get more out of some other players too. So I think that Pajemski, Healed, all these guys, they got to just step it up. That's what the moment is calling for. So I do think they can hang in this thing if Steph is coming out. They said it was a grade 1 strain, so I guess they were targeting the 16th, which is next Friday. for a reevaluation. But then it's like, all right, you reevaluate him, but you're not going to throw him right back out there.
Reevaluation.
He's got to
Exactly.
ramp back up. He's got to get his conditioning right again. That's going to be another couple of days there. So where are
Yeah.
we in the series then? I don't know, but yeah, I think that's where the disappointment from Steph was coming from. It's like, damn, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get
Makes
back in
sense.
time for this thing.
Definitely makes sense.
Yeah, and he
Um.
wants to make your impact on the series too. These
Oh,
great players, like
absolutely.
you want to make your impact, even if they do somehow get through this thing. Like he's gonna still be upset because it's like, damn, I don't have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. 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 Let's jump over to the Eastern Conference. We have a couple
Yes,
of series that are 2-0 currently.
insanity over
Um,
there.
and honestly, both of them are surprising. I don't think anybody would have guessed either one of these
Nobody.
unless you're just a diehard, potentially delusional. Um, I don't
I
think
bet money
anybody's going to say,
expecting to lose it. I literally
there
bet
you
money
go,
expecting to lose
delusional.
it. Yeah, like
um,
oh, maybe they'll win. Maybe.
let's start in Cleveland. The
Yeah,
Pacers up 2-0 over the Cavs, and I've been talking about this team. I mean, we haven't talked about them a lot. They had that long winning streak during the season.
yeah,
They basically, start to finish, they were the best team record wise in the league. They had a couple win streaks actually, and I just looked at them and I'm like, they're good. They're a very good team. Don't let
yeah.
me like try to sway you any type of way. They're a very good team. I there was just something. I couldn't put my finger on it. It just felt like they didn't have the experience, or maybe just I don't know. But Indy has come in. Tyrese Halliburton seemingly taking the
Yeah,
most overrated player in the league thing to heart, and he's been going absolutely crazy in this series.
yeah.
Um, how surprised are you that it's 2-0? And are what are your concerns about Cleveland? If they're Are they done? Can they get back into it, or have the Pacers figured out what their flaw is?
So the Pacers, we forgot, like you said, throughout the year that this team was in the conference finals last year. Now, yes, they went up against a pretty depleted and banged up Knicks team to get there in seven, but yeah, this team was in the conference finals last year, and so they have talent. They know what it takes to win this time of year. They know the level that you got to bring your play to this time of year, especially in these later rounds where Cleveland they hadn't even got out of the first round, in the past two seasons. So a lot of
True.
these guys haven't even been beyond the first round. They've been sitting for a week, and then you got to look at the minutes distribution throughout the season. Like these guys are playing like 30. Nobody, I don't think anybody. I think the stat was none of the players on the Cavs even averaged more than 31 minutes a game or something like that, or 33 minutes a game. It was something
That's
crazy like
wild.
that in the
Yeah.
regular season. So then Kenny Atkinson's saying they're gassed at the end of game two. So they ran out of gas in a game that they had, and they're missing guys. They were
Yep.
that was going to be a steal of a win to get back at home there for them, and they let it get away from them. Uh, just inexcusable to let a man miss a free throw
Yes.
and get his own rebound, take it out,
Yes.
reset on you, and then knock down a game winner. I mean, shout out to Tyrese Haliburton. He's not my favorite player, but I do understand that
Me
the
either.
kid he rises to the moment, man. Like when it's time to make big plays, he makes big plays for them. He's done it all year for them, and yeah. So the biggest concern with Cleveland is that where is Darius Garland? Where is
Yes,
he
that
in
was my
his
point.
rehabilitation? And and how do they survive these next two games? If without him and on the road if they need to. What's the deal with Evan Mobley? And what's the deal with DeAndre Hunter? These are three key players for them. Like probably outside of Donovan Mitchell, their
Top
next
three.
most
Yeah.
three key players.
Yeah.
They're critical to what they're doing. I don't know if you could survive on Max Strus and Ty Jerome, and this is more like one of Donovan Mitchell's Utah squads than it is what he signed up for here. So you got to feel for him. He played a great game. He stepped it up. In game one, I think he had like 33 on 30 shots. It was a real weird game for him. Didn't hit any threes. They're struggling also from three. That's the thing. These teams that shot the three really well in the regular season are not shooting the three well in the playoffs. And that has been the
Love
biggest
it.
thing I've noticed in these playoffs. And like I said with Golden State, when you lose your fastball, where's your changeup? What
Hmm.
do you have? Like Evan Mobley is not like a post player, but you got to have something in the mid range to get to him. There's got to be other actions that you can run other than just drive, kick, swing, 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 open three. If it's not there, what else do you have? Kenny Atkinson is the coach of the year, right? He just won coach of the year. I think so, right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's got to have something up his sleeve. You got to do it on the road because you don't want to come back for Game 5 down 3-1. You do not want that. You do not want that, and you certainly don't want to get swept. They're too good of a team, I think, to get swept. I think that they're still a more talented team than Indiana, but it's
I
coming
agree.
down to that experience factor where and I think that the Pacers, like we were saying about the Timberwolves not noticing, I think they see the blood in the water. They smell it. And they're like, this is our chance. Like we could get these dudes out of here like at home and just and there's no fear in them. That comeback happened so fast, but it was also so slow the way it happened. And then it was like all I had to do was Cleveland, which is they're a great rebounding team with a lot of length, big guys. They couldn't get a rebound. Everything that the Pacers were doing, tip-ins, tap-outs, and second chance baskets. And they just crept their way back in that game. Tied it with what, like 20 seconds or something like that? And then went to the line. And then they get the steal. The worst pass ever on an inbound pass. The worst pass ever. Like he threw a lollipop up there. And then they get the steal. Tyrese Haliburton comes down, gets fouled, makes one, misses one. And again, inexplicably, they allowed this man to rebound his own foul shot with the game on the line. Uh, they got to take it to the next level, man. That's on Kenny Atkinson, who's been on championship coaching staffs, to push home to these guys like how much more intensity you have to play with, and now you're gonna have to do it without your home crowd. So I think they could do it.
Yeah.
I think they're talented enough, but this is what we feared and what we talked about coming into the
Yes.
playoffs with them, and why nobody believed them, and what we just there was just a hole in this roster, and now they're missing pieces from it too. So this is going to be a tough task for them, but I think they, or at least I hope they're up for it.
Yeah. So, um, couple of things. One, Darius Garland not playing is huge.
Yeah,
Um, they've had Ty Jerome playing a lot of point guard, which he's been fine.
yeah,
He's been fine. But in terms of controlling the pace of the game, that's not him.
no,
Um, could it be Donovan Mitchell? Sure, but you've got for 82 games, he's primarily been off the ball.
off the
Darius
ball.
Garland's
Yeah,
been he's been the conductor, the orchestrator on the court. He's been the point guard, like truly just controlling the flow of the
yeah,
game all year. So him not being in the game or not playing has
huge.
been huge. Um, and then I hate to sound like a broken record, but experience. Donovan Mitchell has a bunch of experience. Obviously, has not won, but he's been to the playoffs. He's led teams on playoff runs. He's been
He
the
has not
number
missed
one
the
option
playoffs
on
in his
teams.
entire career. He's been in the
He's
playoffs
been
every year
great.
in his career.
But then on the other side, you jump over to the Pacers, and again, Tyrese Halliburton hasn't won, but you mentioned Eastern Conference
Yeah,
Finals last year. Like they've been a very good team the past few
yeah,
years. And then you sprinkle in somebody like Pascal Siakam, who has won a championship,
yep.
and all of these things come into play. And like I said, I truly, truly, truly believe that if Darius Garland was on the court, I'm not saying that things are flipped and the Cavs are up 2-0, but it might be 1-1
Makes a big
where,
difference. They
yeah,
probably
where
close that
you're
game a little bit better. He's a great 3-point shooter.
exactly,
He's a great free throw shooter. He
exactly.
probably inbounds that pass instead of Max Strus, who throws up that lollipop for the Pacers to steal. There's a lot of different things that
Yes,
go into there. And if they just get that ball inbounds, they get fouled, they make
they
free
win the
throws,
game.
they go home. You know
Yep.
what I mean? It's like
Yep.
even though the wheels had fallen off the car, you know what I mean? Like all they needed to do was just get that one play, and him being there would help that. Now he hurts them defensively. He's probably their weakest defensive player, but still,
Yep.
like yeah, he's putting a lot of effort out there. He's got some defensive quirks and instincts to get his hands in passing lanes and things like that. Back stealing passes on the backside. There's things that you could clean up and pick up from him on defense, but they need him most on offense as far as how
Absolutely.
to get that thing under control. Because when it got out of control in the fourth, there was no one to get it back under control. It
Yeah.
was they
Nothing.
were just coming down every possession and just trying to just like all right, all right, all right. Like, please somebody score. Like, please somebody score. And they didn't have much to it. So, yeah, he has to be back soon. Mobley, I mean, they could probably hang on for another game without him. And they're all listed as game time decisions for Friday, the 9th,
Yep.
which is game 3. So we'll see. We'll see. All three are listed as game time decisions, and I think they're going to need all three of them to go, even if they're 80%, because you cannot go down 3-0 against this
Absolutely
team.
not.
You know who I really
Absolutely
can't
not.
stand? Uh,
Cool.
Andrew Nemhard. Bro, this
Why?
dude, yo, I'm telling you, bro, something possesses this man in the playoffs, dude. It's crazy what he does in the playoffs. Regular season, he's not like an unbelievable player. Regular season, this guy he's averaging 10 points a game. And that's really it. Well, what is he shooting from three? That's what I want to know. That's what I'm looking at. So he's taking three less than three attempts, shooting 29% in the regular season. Right now, let's go to his postseason numbers. His postseason numbers will irritate you, bro. He's shooting 50% from three of almost 5 attempts. This is his postseason this year. He did the same thing
Yeah.
last year. A below 30% shooter in the regular season and a 50% 3-point shooter in the playoffs. If you remember, when the Knicks had them down game 2-0 last year on game 3, he's the one who hit that crazy three that led
Yep.
to them winning that game and stealing it. And then we got smoked in game 4 and they tied it up. So it's like those are the players I can't stand who are like out of character in the playoffs. Like, be yourself, bro.
Maybe. Maybe they. Maybe they just show up when the lights are brightest,
Nah,
man.
man, be yourself, bro. Like, yo, that's what I'm saying. Cleveland's got to be sitting there thinking that. Like, what the hell is going on? What the helly?
Yo.
What the helly,
What the hell,
Bron
he Derek?
James? What the helly, Cyrus? They out here like,
Bro,
what is? He don't miss. It's crazy. He's up
yo,
two. He's up two, almost three more attempts, and still shooting. And he's shooting almost 30% better.
that's
What is
crazy.
that? What
This
is
guy
that?
said this guy said be yourself, be a bum. Why are you switching up in the playoffs?
Yeah, what's up with you, bro? What's it like? I want him drug tested. He taking that shot when we get to the
That's
playoffs. Like I'm
crazy.
calling him out, man. That's something going on, bro.
What the hell?
Something fishy about that. Something fishy about him. He averaging 15 in the playoffs. What's up with you, bro?
Yo,
What's up with you?
be yourself.
Be yourself,
That's
man.
crazy.
Go back to your ways.
Oh
But yeah,
man.
man, that's the big thing, bro. They got to get these guys back on the court, and we're gonna roll right into it next, but it's about
Absolutely.
these identities that these teams developed in the regular season. There's 60-win teams, so it worked. Now it's not working. What
What do you do?
do you do now?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Perfect segue.
Yeah.
The New York Knicks. Your New York Knicks. My New York Knicks. Our New York Knicks.
Yes.
Up 2-0 on these bum
Bum.
Boston Celtics. Get them out of here.
Fraudulent.
Pack them up,
Fraudulent.
please. I need
Fraud.
y'all. I need y'all to get them out of here. I've turned the corner
Oh,
on
it's
Jason Tatum a
crazy.
little bit. He won a
Yeah.
championship last year. I had to back off.
We
A little
tried.
bit. I
Nah.
was calling him a fraud for a long time.
He ain't win MVP.
He might be a fraud again. He might be a fraud
Yeah.
again.
Bruh.
Let's. The New York Knicks went up to up to the fake Garden in
The fake
Boston.
Garden.
Game 1. Y'all down. Y'all are down. Down 20.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here and I'm like, damn, the Knicks might have met their match.
Yeah.
Might have
This
met
might
their
have been the end of
match.
a good run. Great first round. That's what I was thinking at that point, man. Wait, at least we got that Brunson shot. That's what I was thinking. At least we got that Brunson
Jalen
shot.
Jalen Brunson came to play, man. Came to play.
Unreal.
Cat came to play.
Yes.
Josh Hart came to play. Everybody
Yo.
showed up. Showed
Mikal
up.
Bridges.
Mikal
OG
Bridges. I saw
Ananobi. Wingstop.
Mikal Bridges. I saw somebody. I think I retweeted it. They were like, "Where's that apology form from Mikal Bridges? I need
That
to
was
fill it
Mills.
out."
That was Mills. She's like, because she was cooking him in the Pistons series the whole way through.
Man,
She's like, yo, Mikal got to be better.
yes.
I can't believe we gave up all these picks for him. Everybody was cooking him. I'm like, man, fuck
This
those picks, bro. I'm done. I'm good with Mikal.
this is what you got him for, and he's showing
Yep.
up in the biggest moments. So let's start with game 1. We're deep dive into the Celtics Knicks series. Game 1,
Yes.
I think we both had the same thoughts. Like, man, you guys might be overmatched. The Celtics, defending champs, like they're just going to continue to roll. They've been great all season, and for a while, it truly felt that way. Second half comes along, and it feels like a flip got switched for the New York Knicks. Um, from your perspective, I know you watch every single minute of every single game. What was the moment in game 1 where you were like, you know what? We actually do have a chance to get back into this and steal game 1.
End of the third quarter. The last 3 minutes of the third, going into the fourth. That was what it was. Deuce McBride hit a big three, and that was what it took it to like 17, and then they kind of cut it down to like 11, I think it was. Going into the fourth, they were down, and then they just jumped on them at the start of the fourth, and then I mean, I'm gonna say the same thing about game 2, but they were it was because they were like mirror images of each other. But yeah,
Yeah,
Boston
they
went
really
cold
were.
for some inexplicable reason. They were still jacking threes and pushing the ball up the court 100 miles an hour, playing fast, which is playing into our game. And they just made every play that they needed to in that game. Shout out to Mitchell Robinson. People told
Yes.
me that his return to this team wasn't going to mean anything. They said that banking everything in the Knicks playoff hopes and their ceiling on the return of Mitch was crazy, and that I was crazy to believe it. Well, I'm here to tell you that you were crazy, people. Joe Mazzulla, head coach of the Celtics, championship winning coach, basically admitted it last night that he's only doing the hack a Mitch thing because he was plus 19 on them and they couldn't do anything. They can't score inside. That's why they're shooting all the threes. They can't get anything inside. No, the guys aren't confident. They don't want to go at the rim. He's a great shot blocker. He's dominating the paint. He's doing everything for the Knicks on the inside, keeping Karl Anthony Towns out of foul trouble, keeping the other guys off the board so that Cat can get 17 of those things. And I mean, and 13 of them in game 1. Look, that was huge. But the biggest thing, the biggest player has been, and obviously Brunson has been great, but in both games,
Yep.
the two biggest players have been OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges much better in game 1. As far as even though he only had 8 points, his performance, like it's one of those things where like the points, the box score is not going to tell you the
Yeah.
story. You got to watch it to see what he did. And he closed that game out with a big steal on Jaylen Brown, held those guys under control. Uh, Jaylen Brown in game 1 was 7 of 20 from the field. Mikal Bridges guarded him a bunch of those times, 1 of 10 from 3. OG Anunoby was guarding Jason Tatum almost the entire game, every possession. Tatum was 7 of 23 in game 1. I don't think he made a single shot in the fourth quarter, guarded by OG. 4 of 15 from 3. Uh, Look, this is why they brought these guys here. This is why they let RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly, two players that they love, two players that the fans are us. We loved those guys.
You
RJ
were
was
not
our guy.
happy about it.
RJ was like, I wasn't happy at first because I knew OG was good, but I didn't know he was like this. and
Yeah.
I knew he had some. You know, he was injury prone. He missed I think only 3 or 4 games this entire year, and he's just been phenomenal. Yes, Tatum has been taking bad shots. The shot selection has been bad with those guys throughout their career. That's been one of their biggest knocks, Tatum and Brown, is the shot selection, particularly in the clutch moments, the shots they take, and things like that. But yes, they're playing their part in it. But OG and Mikel have done such a great job of contesting without fouling, not giving up those driving lanes, sliding their feet, and defending without fouling. That has been key. They've just been so great. Porzingis not being there obviously makes a huge difference, right? Because I
Absolutely.
think again, I'm going back to that analogy again about your fastball's not working. Where's your changeup? I think Porzingis is their changeup, and you can't just throw it. And you can't just throw it down to Al Horford in the block. You could throw it down to Tatum, but OG's locking him up. You know, so Joe Mazzulla, I think, is he's just waiting, trying to like grind this thing out until the shots start to fall again, and stubbornly he won't go away from what's been working to the tune of 61 wins. I understand that. I understand that. But when the wheels are falling off at the end of a game like that, especially a game that you were leading, and then these guys just like creep back and walk you down, that's where you got to say, all right, toss the playbook. I got to give it to, I got two of the best players in the NBA on this team. I got to draw something up for them to get a shot or to get to a spot on the floor that they're comfortable. And I just think he's been too stubborn to do that. He's been too stubborn to do that. And in game two last night, it was similar.
So I think I agree with you to a degree about Joe Mazzulla, and you mentioned when the wheels are falling off, draw something up for one of your two best players.
Right.
Um, Jaylen Brown, not 100%. We know that he's been
Yeah.
battling injury, but he's out there, right? So if you're on the court, to me, you're healthy. You're as healthy as everybody else is.
That's it.
But Jason Tatum, you alluded to it before. Like when Jason Tatum gets going, he's as good as anybody in the world. Um, but he also tends to settle. That sidestep three or step back three or something like that.
Yeah.
We know he can get to the basket. We know he can finish through contact. But again, to your point, this is a 60+ win team who shot more threes and made more threes than any team in NBA history.
Yeah.
So for them to, in the fourth quarter or with 5 minutes left, abandon that feels a little disingenuous to what they've been doing this year and what's made them so good. But I agree. I mean, at some point you've got to take
Yeah.
a step back as a coach, as a player, and be like, yo, as confident as I am that the next shot is going to drop,
Yeah.
maybe we should try something else. Maybe we
Let's
should get to the
rethink this.
line.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Let's rethink this. Let's get to the
And
line.
I feel like, I don't know, man. Like again, I don't like the Celtics. I don't like that
Yeah.
team at all. Um, but they are infinitely talented. They have scores at damn near every position on
Everywhere.
that team. And the fact that, and I'm alluding back to what I said before, when it comes to a championship pedigree, being there before, knowing how to handle situations like this. Like
Yeah.
this team, Al Horford, Tatum, Brown, like they've
They all have
played
been lots
in
of
in
deep
big
playoff
games.
games.
They won a championship. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it to me, it's so baffling that all of a sudden you're up 20 in the playoffs, two
Yeah.
games in a row, and you blow it.
Yeah.
Like to me, I don't
Both
even
times.
like. On the one hand, typically I would say that's coaching. Like you don't have your guys ready for moments like this.
Yeah.
Honestly, in this particular scenario, I think it's the players.
I think
I
so too.
for I just don't like part of my dislike for Jason Tatum. And again, I've come around on him a little bit.
I think
But
Missoula's
it
made some coaching mistakes, but I do think it's mostly the players that
like
why this is happening to them.
I don't disagree. Like it, I would say, me personally, I would say it's like 75-25. player
Yeah,
coaching.
I agree. I agree.
Player 75, Joe Mazzulla
Yeah,
25.
right.
Because my biggest knock and the thing that I've always disliked about Jason Tatum is it feels like he puts the cart in front of the horse, where he's like, I'm great. I'm a
Yeah,
great player. Like,
yeah,
look at me, look at what I do, look at all the points I score. But in the moments where we need you the most, you're not showing up.
yeah,
You mentioned it. He was not the MVP of the finals last year. It was Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown
yeah.
was the person who showed up offensively and defensively
And
in the
defensively,
Eastern
took on the
Conference
greatest
Finals,
defensive side. Yeah, the top
in the
defensive
Eastern
assignment.
Conference Finals, and in the finals.
Yeah,
So as great of a player as Jason Tatum is, and as much as God rest his soul, as much as he idolizes Kobe Bryant, he, to me, doesn't have that killer instinct in him. And that is my biggest knock on Jason Tatum. And I feel like that's a big part of the reason why this team is down 2-0 to you guys.
yeah.
Whereas,
They're
and
yeah,
hold on, hold on. I'll
yeah,
let
yeah,
you finish.
yeah.
Whereas Jalen Brunson, I've never heard that man say, I'm the best player in the world or anything
No,
like that. He just goes out and performs.
it's
In the biggest
yeah.
moments, you know who the ball is going to on the Knicks, and you can't do anything about it. And so, like
It's
that's my
crazy.
thing. That's my thing. Go
Yeah,
ahead, my fault.
I've waited a long time to have a player like that too. But like I said, I think the difference between the two games is in game one, the Knicks took it. Last night, game two, they honestly gave it to us. They honestly gave it to us. And a
That's
20-point
fair.
lead is not safe regardless, right? And in
Yeah,
today's NBA, with all the threes and everything like that, and the way momentum swings and changes so quickly, you could have raced 20 points in 3 minutes. They've done it two games in a row. We've seen it.
yep.
And I think that, the Knicks, I don't think they feel great that they're up 2-0, but I don't think they feel great about the way that they've played. So
I
there
agree with
are,
that. Yeah,
yeah, there are things that they got to clean up too, and they have to expect a serious punch coming in to game three. I'll say this: I don't want to make a prediction. I'll just say that if the Knicks win game three, it's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time.
that's fair.
Specifically game three, though. Specifically game three. If they lose three and then win four, I think we could still go seven. But if they win three and get up 3-0, and then it's they got to win four straight, it's just too daunting of a task, even for a championship team as talented as these guys are. Uh, I just feel like it would just be a scramble mode for them trying to figure out how to do this. And to speak to the confusion that we're both experiencing, why is this happening to them? Or how does this happen to them? It's last night. You see, they run it's a little bit about the arrogance for me, that. And I like I said, it's the arrogance that this is what works. This is what we did. We won a championship like this, and I get that. But then it was they took that even a step further in game two, where they tried to run the same exact play back to back without calling a
Yeah,
timeout. I'm a civilian man who was just watching on TV. And as soon as Tatum walked the ball inbounds, I said, "Oh my God, they're coming back with the same play." Before I saw Al Horford step into the screen, I knew, oh, they're about to run the same play. He's driving literally the same lane, the same angle, everything was all the same. And the Knicks just played it well. Again, shout to Mitchell Robinson. He's at the highest plus minus on the team for two straight games. He has plus 13 in game one. He was plus 19 in game two. So it just shows you how critical he is. Again, Joe Mazzulla said something about it, and I just think the Knicks they're in pole position. It's more than I could even have dreamt of coming back to Madison Square Garden with a 2-0 lead.
I like it.
I just
I
wanted to
like it.
hold serve and and split. That's
Yeah,
it. That's all I wanted to do. Get one up there, and then we came back with two. So yeah, man, Jalen Brunson has been incredible. The shot making has been incredible in crunch time. Mikal Bridges doesn't even score a basket until last night, and then puts 14 on him in the fourth.
in the fourth.
He really got him going. He started that run, and then they
Yep.
held him. Again, we talk about the missed shots, and yeah, I have to. It's my team, yes, but I watched the game. If you watch the game, you see that they were forcing them into bad shots. They were contesting on tips. They were contesting on drives. They were getting blocks. They were getting steals. OG was literally stripping the ball out of people's hands. He had 4 steals in game 2. These are the type of performances. The Knicks held them scoreless for 7 minutes. They didn't
It's
make a single
crazy.
field goal in the fourth
Yep.
quarter. The fourth quarter, you got a Finals MVP and an Olympian on the other. Like these are great players, and the Knicks held them scoreless. So you got to give them their shout. And the defense they've played, they've raised their intensity. They've risen to the moment every single time. So shout out to the Knicks, man, and I hope they can finish it. Slam the door
You
on them.
is somebody gonna smuggle you in the building for game 3 or 4?
4 is what we're eyeing. We're eyeing for game 4 Monday. I think we could be. I
Okay.
think we'll be all right. Yeah, I think we'll be all right.
Okay.
See if I can get in there and make a little noise. Listen, shout out to CP the franchise, Knicks fan TV, man. That's my dog. He he was telling everybody like we got the fans. You guys got to do it. Nobody sits down on Saturday. Nobody sits down. Seats are not optional. If you are able to stand, then you will stand on Saturday, and you better not leave with a voice or you did not do your job. I don't care
I like it.
about anything else.
I like
Listen.
it.
Bring the kid, but if they're not ready to scream, leave them at home. This is business. All right, we are on a mission right now. There's a no sitting rule in Madison Square Garden. I want to hear you here in Connecticut where I'm sitting right now. Make noise. Make Madison Square Garden the loudest place in the United States of America. Let's go Knicks.
Let's go Knicks. Let's get out of here on that note.
Yes, sir.
I'm Johnell. I'm with my guy Matt Price Cash Walk-In, and this is Big Nick Energy Heat Check, powered by Designated Report. We will be back with y'all hopefully early next week to recap some of these games. Actually,
Yes.
you said Game 4 is on Monday. We might gotta
Oh
push it a
yeah,
day,
yeah.
Brody.
Maybe. I was Sunday. We might be able to make something happen some late Sunday night. We'll see. I
All
gotta
right.
check my schedules, like, cause I still haven't heard back on some. I gotta get the final details on what's going on, but we'll work it out.
Also, with that said, if we don't talk to y'all,
Happy Mother's
happy
Day
Mother's Day to all
to
the
all the
beautiful
moms.
mothers out there. Yes,
Yes,
yes, yes. And yeah, enjoy some basketball over the next week or so. We will be back with y'all, and let's get out of here.
that's it. The mellow too, through the dome.